Don't want to invite her? Then don't. Let's talk guest list. Hello lovely brides and welcome back to my channel. I'm Lauren, wedding planner, owner of Bluebird Creative and big time coffee addict. I come at you from London, England, bringing you a weekly dose of wedding planning goodness for the stylish bride. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll be notified every Tuesday when I post a new video. Right, lovely people, today is all about that guest list and who you should invite and who you shouldn't invite. I plan to have you walking away from this video managing to cut your wedding planning guest list from those 6,000 people down to your perfect number. So let's go. Guest list! Where do you even start? Right, write down every single person you think you want to invite to your wedding. Go on, go do it now. Write them all down, and that's where we're going to start from. Even the ones that you feel that you should invite. It's a tough subject, and we'll touch on it, don't worry. So when you're writing that guest list, you're going to find that you subconsciously just put people into categories. And the first category, the first category we're going to touch on is family. Kind of the most important one really when it comes to your wedding day. Unless you're not close with your family, we're not going to go down that road today. So let's start family. Okay guys, so family, these guys should really be your definites. But you might be asking yourself, what about that uncle that you haven't seen since you were 5? And what about your godmother that you haven't seen in about 15 years? It's really tough, and you're going to get the question thrown at you of, but they're family. My saying always goes though, and my thoughts on this are, you do you. Preferably without offending too many people if possible. So let me give you a lowdown on what I did, for example. My uncle lives in the States and he flew over from the States to be there for my wedding day. My godmother is Spanish and she flew over from Barcelona to be there on my wedding day. However, my uncle's son, who also lives in the States, so my cousin, and I haven't seen him in years. We didn't invite him to the wedding because I haven't seen him in years. And I don't think I was invited to his either, but it's fine. And there's no bad blood there. That was what felt right. My aunt, on the other hand, she has 2 children, again, my cousins. I invited her son to the wedding day because we spent Christmas Day with him like nearly every year. But her daughter, I never really saw that often. We have a good relationship, but it's very distant at the same time. So I just invited her to the evening. And unfortunately, she couldn't make it because she actually doesn't live too close. And those were just decisions that felt right at the time. My husband invited his godmother to the evening of our wedding because I'd never met her. So you just have to work out what feels right for you. And if you've got a really strict budget, then again, it's just working that out, preferably without offending people if you can. So hopefully with my story, that gives you a little bit of context. Just tread carefully. You can't save everybody's feelings, but just be really thoughtful and conscious. And again, do what's right for you. Okay, so let's move on to children. This might be an area where you really don't know what to do and you can feel like it's literally like opening a can of worms. Let me put this straight. Do you want kids at your wedding? If it's a no, that is absolutely fine. Hey, I'm a mum. If you told me we're not doing kids at the wedding, Lauren, I'd be like, woohoo! Because mama needs a night off, you know? I want to get my dancing shoes on and I want to head to the bar. I think a lot of people panic that they're going to offend people because they don't want to invite their children. But actually, a lot of parents are quite grateful for the time with their friends to enjoy and celebrate. So don't panic too much. The issue or the worry can sometimes arise when you want to invite a couple of children to the wedding. So usually a kind of yes, we're having kids or no, we're having kids makes things a little bit easier. You may find that newborn babies, you kind of need to let them come, otherwise their mums aren't going to be able to come because they need their mamas, they're only bubbas. They're really good at weddings. They sleep, they eat, they do cry a bit, but as long as the parents are on it and you've maybe just given them a bit of instruction to say, if they cry in the ceremony, can you kind of just go step outside, please? I love ya, but you know, we don't need that in the video. And they should understand that. I'd understand that. That's fine. I don't want to be stood there with a crying baby trying to listen whilst everyone's looking at me. No thanks. So what about if you decide to have family, children. So your nieces and nephews, or maybe you've got young cousins that you'd like to have as part of your bridal party, or just invite them to the wedding. Do you know what? It's fine. Just tell your friends, they're my family and I'd like to invite them to the wedding, but we're kind of having no kids at the wedding, just close family. And that's okay. Again, I very much doubt people will be offended. So once you've decided if it's a yay or a nay or a halfway house perhaps, you need to work out how to tell your guests. There are so many different ways to say it, and you can write some really fun things in your invites about how you want the parents to have a night off, get their dancing shoes on and go to the bar, how you're just not having children at the wedding because you want everybody to just be able to party. Or you can put the information on your wedding website if you're deciding to do that. There's lots of different ways, so just really have a think about how you want to do it. Okay, so let's move on to parents' requests. This is such an awkward one. You really, really need to have a think about it and work out the right options for you. So basically, what it means is your friends may have some friends that they want to invite to your wedding, and they may turn around to you and say, but you've known them since you were 5, or they've known you since you were born. So this is really where you need to suss out how you want to play it. And there is no right or wrong answer here. And it's possibly one of the most awkward bits. So will it really offend your parents if you say no? Do you really feel that you want them there? And are you okay with that request? Is your budget really tight to be adding people to your wedding that you might not necessarily have invited yourself over possibly people that you would really like there? Is it a possibility for them to just come in the evening? Can you make a compromise there? And the big one really, are your parents paying for the wedding? Because if they're paying for the wedding, then they do have a little bit more say in possibly having a couple of people come to the wedding. So discuss all these factors and try and work out what is best for you and your parents. Following these guidelines will help you cull your list to that perfect number. So give me a like if so far it's helping you out. And comment below and let me know the bits that you've been stuck on the most, or those people on your guest list that you just have had a massive question mark over and don't really know what to do about. Okay, so moving on, we've got old friends. Now, do you invite your friends from school? Well, when was the last time you saw them? If it was at school, then no, you don't need to invite them. If it was last week, then, maybe they should be on your list. If it was 4 years ago, then possibly not. So you really need to factor in how long ago you actually saw these people. Just because you knew them way back when doesn't mean they're your friends now, does it? What about the friend that you were really close with and you went to their wedding and you were bridesmaid at their wedding, but you haven't seen them in 2 years? People change, people's life direction changes, people reach new chapters in their lives, they have kids, people drift apart. It's part of life. It's what makes it exciting. And unfortunately, it means that sometimes you lose touch with certain friends. So even if you were bridesmaid for them at their wedding, if that was 4 years ago and you haven't really seen them since, then don't feel obligated to invite them in return or ask them to be your bridesmaid. Maybe invite them to the evening if you still want to touch base, but don't feel obligated to invite them if you don't want to, or you don't feel that they really deserve to be on that list. Just remember, essentially, you're paying for each of these people. You're paying for them to have a 3-course meal and for them to party with you. So don't just add everybody on willy-nilly. You've really got to think, would you be willing to take that person to dinner and pay for them? Because if you don't, then why would you do that at your wedding? It's the most special day of your life. Okay. Plus ones. How do we feel about the plus one, hey? Do not hand these out lightly, my friends, okay? If your friend is with a guy and they are in a steady relationship and perhaps you don't really know him, or they've only been together 6 months and you've only met him once, but they are happy, they are steady, then yes, invite him. Give him that plus one. Maybe put his name on the invite, that would be nice. But yes, absolutely. If you have a friend that's been living with her partner for a while, then yes, surely you would invite those as the couple and their names would go on the invite. But you catch my drift, right? If, however, they've only been together a month, you do not need to invite him to the day if you don't want to. If you've never met them and things are going well, but they're really fresh and really new and maybe a month or 2 months in, no, you do not need to invite them and give them a +1. You can if you want to, absolutely, but don't feel that you have to. But what about if this friend we're talking about, who's been in a relationship for 1 to 2 months and is really happy, knows nobody else at your wedding? I would say that's a good exception to allow her +1. At least then she's with the person that she's feeling happy with and she knows somebody else. That is a good time to throw a +1 in, if you ask me. So the +1 rule is pretty flexible, if you see what I mean. There are no set rules. Just see how you go. You might find that somebody gets in a relationship with someone once you've sent your invites out or once you've sent your save the dates out. So you may want to then invite them to the evening because they weren't actually together when you sent your invitations out. So you can invite the +1 to the evening so that they can join in and meet their other half then. There's so many options, so really think about them all. So guest lists and budgeting go hand in hand at the first part of your wedding planning. So if you haven't already, make sure you check out my budgeting video, which will help you in these first stages. I'm linking it here. I think it's this side. It could be there. So if you feel like you need a little bit more support on your wedding planning journey, then as always, hop on over to Facebook and join my Bluebird Bride Academy private Facebook group. I've got a lovely community of brides who are all helping each other with their wedding planning, and I hop in every week and do a live training to help them, and they get to question me and ask for my advice then and there. So if you want in on that, then make sure you join now. The doors are currently open. If you liked this video, give us a like. Make sure you comment below and let me know who had that massive question mark over them and who you've now sussed out is not coming. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and you'll get notified every Tuesday when I post a new video. Until next week, see you later.